getting back to the huddle and getting on to the next
that's
play.
what he
But
said.
Anyway.
That's what he said in the little video. He said, I can't hear the haters because I got too much money in my hand. So you should put a little bit of that money in both sides of the helmet, and then you won't hear the haters when you're out there. Although, there won't be a whole lot of haters until things change. And the last take on that, Vashon in the chat room, and I'll give you credit because he's dead on, and this is coming from a guy who wanted Manziel to get the start basically from the beginning. Now that the decision is made, you don't take Hoyer out unless the Browns are eliminated from playoff competition or Brian Hoyer gets injured. And I agree. Now that the decision is made, you're in. You're in with the guy until one of those two things happens. I agree with him. Do you?
Yeah, sure. We talked about how it was really the only decision to make because you can't go backwards, because going the other way is not an option. And the same is true if Hoyer's a starter, because you can't go in reverse and you can't be flipping based on 1 or 2 or 3 or 8 games worth of performance. You've designated your quarterback, and you got to live with that decision. And like you said, unless Hoyer is incapacitated, I don't think we see Johnny.
No, and I can agree. If you're out of playoff competition, if you're down to week 12 and you're, 3-9, and
then you start grooming your replacement.
Exactly. And Hoyer would be the first one to say, "Hey, let me help the kid." At that point, you know what I mean? And I do. That's why I always laughed at the disgruntled. You got to trade him. I'm like, Brian Hoyer doesn't have a disgruntled bone in his body. What kind of story are you talking about, man? Like, if they told him today that it was Manziel, he'd go, "Cool. How can I help get the kid ready?" So, anyways.
Yeah, I think you're right. People are fond of creating controversy where none exists, and I think you're right that
you have to.
He's not that kind of player.
You have to create controversy where none exists in the world of sports talk radio if you can't come up with things to talk about. That's what they do, man. That's what they do, Dan.
That's right. That's why the Browns signed Rex Grossman, and all of a sudden the Browns are shopping Brian Hoyer.
That's it. Meanwhile, Rex Grossman is seen like
take a little piece of the story and create a story out of it that isn't there.
He can't even get practice reps yet, but the Browns brought him in to replace Brian Hoyer. That was the best, man. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Sports Fix. Dan Wismar, J-Rock, and Common Sense joining you here as we do each and every day. We're going to take a break, get you the news. When we come back, let's talk about, we just said, hey, Brian Hoyer, as long as he's on his feet, he's the quarterback. Braxton Millers not. Let's talk about the latest with that as he is out. JT Barrett now going to get at least the first opportunity, and that dynamic just changed. We were just talking about that on Monday. Boom, here everything flips. We'll talk about the changes now for the outcome of what may happen for Ohio State here. I'm going to ask Dan what he thinks. How does this change his look at the next upcoming season for the Buckeyes? We're talking Buckeyes and Braxton and changes in the NCAA, all kinds of stuff going on. Don't go anywhere. We're going to get you some news, and then when we come back, Dan Wismar rejoins me. We'll talk some Buckeyes and Braxton and JT Barrett and more. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Sports Fix.
I made this money, you didn't. Right, Ted? We out of here. It's mine. It's mine. It's mine. It's mine. It's mine.
And now, a very special announcement from the Sports Fix.
Black bears weigh between 200 and 500 pounds. Brown bears weigh between 300 and over 1,000 pounds. Black bears run away from you. Brown bears run at you. When attacked by a bear, simply lie still on the ground and cover your face and head with your hands. When the bear has finished batting you around and mauling you, contact the U.S. Forest Service.
And that was a message from the Sports Fix.
Hey guys, before we go to the break, I want to talk to you a little bit again about our good friends at Harry Buffalo North Olmsted, the UFC, the Ultimate Fighting Championships, some of the hottest fights in the world today. Each and every one of their huge events Harry Buffalo is one of the few places in Northeast Ohio you can go there and watch each and every UFC fight at the Harry Buffalo. And let me tell you, I've been there. The people are out the door. They are to the rafters. It is one of the craziest environments for some UFC fights. Wing Mondays, they've got great deals on wings and drinks, and every day of the week there's a different special, a different deal. And don't forget the Bison Burger, the unbelievable. It is the combination of a fantastic burger and eating healthy combined into one unbelievable sandwich. You have got to get a Bison Burger while you're there. So whatever you're looking for, whatever day of the week, Monday through Friday, Saturday, Sundays, there's something for you at the Harry Buffalo North Olmsted, just outside Great Northern Mall. Check them out today. Harry Buffalo, join the herd.
Hey, this is Scott Fujita, and you're listening to the Sports Fix.
Business owners and professionals, do you want to take your business, your product, your team, your event to the next level? You want to advertise right here with the Sports Fix. Our listeners are among the most loyal listeners, terrestrial or internet. The Sports Fix universe is not only the radio show, but tens of thousands of fans on Facebook and Twitter. Email me, Jerry Myers, thesportsfix@AOL.com. That's thesportsfix@AOL.com. And let me help you swing for the fences and hit it out of the park right here on the Sports Fix.
Sports Fix listeners, do you tweet? So do we. So tweet with us 24/7 at the Sports Fix CLE.
Whether it's an oil change or a new set of tires, Quick Lane at Valley Ford Truck has you covered for your automotive car care needs. They're your neighborhood quick service experts. They also offer a low price tire guarantee. Choose from 13 brands, and if you find the same tires at a lower price within 30 days, Quick Lane at Valley Ford will refund the difference. They're open late Monday through Thursday until 9 p.m. and open early Saturday so you can check it off your to-do list and get on with your day. They also have a newly remodeled service lounge and additional service bay just for Quick Lane oil changes. Quick Lane at Valley Ford Truck is located at 5715 Canal Road, right under the 480 Bridge in Valley View, just down the road from Independence. 5715 Canal Road, right under the 480 Bridge in Valley View, just down the road from Independence. Come see why life is better in the Quick Lane. quicklane.com/Valley Ford Truck. That's quicklane.com/Valley Ford Truck.
Portions of the Sports Fix brought to you by Signs and Ship, the official printing source of the Sports Fix. Locations in Ohio, Pennsylvania, Virginia, and Florida. Find out more at signsandship.com.
News break. Good morning, I'm Bob Picozzi. He was not ready to make a decision late yesterday afternoon, but first-year Browns coach Mike Pettin did decide this morning. Sixth-year veteran Brian Hoyer will be the starting quarterback on opening day. Appearing today on Mike and Mike, Cleveland Plain Dealer Browns beat writer Mary Kay Cabot thinks the decision was an obvious one.
They had to act quickly. They had to get rolling for the opener, for the dress rehearsal game. And how could you name Johnny Manziel the starter after the week that he had, and even after the offseason that he had?
That dress rehearsal will be Saturday night's preseason game against the Rams. Most starting quarterbacks are expected to see little, if any, playing time in the final preseason game on August 30th. University of Miami safety Rayshawn Jenkins underwent surgery on his lower back yesterday. He will miss the entire season. He started 12 games last season as a sophomore. Former Red Sox pitcher Curt Schilling told WEEI this morning that his use of smokeless tobacco for 30 years was responsible for his recent bout with oral cancer. Baseball Commissioner-elect Rob Manfred throws out the ceremonial first pitch tonight when Philadelphia meets Las Vegas. Little League World Series, 7:30 Eastern on ESPN. Monet Davis will be on the mound.
Subway is bringing big barbecue flavor this summer with Applewood pulled pork. It's slow cooked to smoky perfection and topped with rich sweet barbecue sauce. Try yours with the veggies you love on freshly baked bread. It's summer's gotta have it footlong. Subway, eat fresh.
Now back to the Sports Fix.
Welcome back to the Sports Fix as Hour 2 rolls on across the Sports Fix Radio Network. J-Rock, Jerry Myers back with you guys on the phones. My man, Dan Wismar from the Cleveland Fan. He's with us every Monday and Wednesday, and he started this journey with us talking Buckeyes and then quickly advanced into talking about everything. I love talking sports with my man, Dan Wismar, and you guys, by your reaction, love it too. But we circle back around where we started. A lot of Buckeyes to get into the quarterback position. It's a big change coming for the Buckeyes. Is Braxton Miller down? We're going to talk about all of that with Dan. You can keep the conversation rolling on Facebook and Twitter. Facebook.com/TheSportsFix. Tweet with us at TheSportsFixCLE. You can tweet with Dan at DWismar. And you can email us, TheSportsFix@AOL.com. I'm going to go back to the phones here and pull Dan up. Dan, you still with me, my man?
I am with you, sir.
All right, we're back into the show here as we roll on. I don't know if you heard in the break there, Brian Hoyer's the starting quarterback for the Browns. I didn't know if you caught up to that or not, but
newsflash, we knew that months ago. But they never called. You know, Petton never called me. He never called you. We could have told him.
I'm not gonna rail on her too bad, but I do got to get a kick out of Mary Kay being featured in that segment, because she has ridden, I mean, like up until yesterday, I think, ridden the inflatable swan for Johnny to be the starting quarterback. I mean, every one of her headlines left an out for him. Like, even if it was a dominant a day for Hoyer in practice, it would be like Hoyer dominant, but Manziel does great too. You know, she always left him alive in there, which is the sign to a good journalist. But anyways, I got a kick out of that. Well, this is what had to happen all along. I guess that's what everybody's saying today, but that wasn't what everybody was saying all along.
Exactly. Well, anyway, down in Columbus, the situation is much
Well, that's
weaker.
an ugly situation there.
And, it's just heartbreaking for Braxton. I feel so bad for the young man because obviously the climax of his career. We talked this Monday about how he was poised to shatter all these career records and really write his name into the Ohio State record books for all time in a couple of categories. And just to see that all floating away, and yeah, we can talk about taking a red shirt and playing in 2015, and maybe that'll happen, maybe it won't. But just a heartbreak for the young man himself, despite what, on top of everything that it does for the prospects for Ohio State football, which is, of course, what a lot of people care about. And I think generally you can say that this takes this team down a notch from, a potential Final Four kind of team, a playoff kind of team in the new system, to a team that probably isn't at that level, and maybe goes from an 11 or 12 win team down to maybe 9 or 10 win team. I think there's plenty of talent there, and there's plenty of talent in the form of the backup quarterbacks for this team too, to make it happen and to win double-digit games and get into a bowl that might have in the past been a BCS bowl if there was such a thing. But at the same time, it takes the expectations down. I heard somebody say, all this means now there's 11 scrimmages to get ready for Michigan. And to a degree, there's some truth to that. That if you're not going to win them all, then really the only game that's important is beating Michigan in late November. But I don't think they're ready to cash in all their chips just yet, because there's so much talent on this team that they can still have a successful season.
Yeah, we'll get into this here with the Buckeyes this season. I want to start at the beginning of what you just said. So you definitely sounded like you're not as convinced as some people that Braxton Miller necessarily just automatically comes back, red shirts, comes back and goes back at it and finishes where he had unfinished business. There goes that term again. But finishes what he had to finish, because I think most people see that as a foregone conclusion, and he said that, but you sounded a little less than positive about that.
Well, the reason I'm less than positive about it is that Braxton Miller had off-season shoulder surgery this past off-season and was coming back.
Well, yeah.
And was going to rehab it and play, and here we are with him not playing, with the shoulder not cooperating, with there being a re-injury. So nothing is guaranteed. No outcome is inevitable. So,
I got you.
Yeah, certainly with the double whammy, the two separate shoulder injuries, you can't expect that the second rehab will be more successful than the first rehab has turned out to be. So that's the only reason I have uncertainty about it, because we're talking about a human body that might not respond like you want it to.
And now, looking at the injury itself, what gives me the biggest I guess, concern, and I mean, hey, guys get hurt all the time, is that it was a non-contact injury, because that's a bit more understandable, when a guy gets banged up that way, whereas he was simply making some, all by himself, making some throws, and I think, you texted him, it was an out route he was going for there, and whatever it was, he grabs the arm, comes right off of the field, and here you go. I mean, worst case scenario, confirmed with the MRI, but I think that is even more concerning. And especially you and I, the irony of the way Monday went down, you and I were talking about the Buckeyes and previewing
and JT Barrett and giving him a shot.
As practice was happening.
Hopefully JT Barrett can get on the field a